Hi there, my name is Sophie Stetkiewicz. I worked with the Whidbey Island Grown Cooperative, or WIGC, this summer as their social media intern. WIGC is sort of like an online farmers market on Whidbey where residents can order produce from their website and pick it up weekly. So, zooming in on the background, promoting local eating was at the center of my project. Consuming food that was produced nearby strengthens community resilience and sustainability in many ways. And awareness of those benefits is becoming more well known, which is great. However, participation in local eating remains inconsistent for reasons unknown, and social media marketing often fails to reach the entire intended audience. Social media marketing is often the most viable option for small businesses because it is pretty cheap and you can do it yourself for the most part, but it can be hard to get it right. So, in this project, I examined how social media can be best used by WIGC to encourage increased engagement with local food systems, which ties into my question here. WIGC asked me what social media strategies are best for encouraging rural, specifically would-be families to engage in their local food systems. So I did multiple things to answer that question. First, as their social media intern, I ran WIGC's Instagram and Facebook accounts, which allowed me to experience firsthand what sorts of content did well with their audience. I also got to visit the beautiful island multiple times and explore some of the farms, which was super cool, and you'll see some pictures I took there shortly. While I was there, I also researched effective communication strategies by way of an annotated bibliography and a 22-question survey I designed to gauge would-be residents' opinions on local eating, whether they were already participating in the practice, and what sorts of information they think they're lacking. So, Figure one here features a picture I took at Eli Wheat's Skyroot Farm. I used it as the background for the cover slide of a post about the benefits of eating seasonally, which also ties into local eating, just to give you a taste of the sorts of content I was producing for them. So I gained a lot of insights from my research, but here are a few of the most important results. The vast majority of people in the United States use social media every day, and Facebook and Instagram are definitely the most popular. So a decent number of my survey respondents actually had not engaged with WIGC on social media or even used their services at all. Each were about 40%. However, they did report to get information about local happenings from online sources and social media, with Nextdoor standing out as an important information sharing site. Nextdoor is sort of a unique social media that WIGC hadn't used before, but would-be residents use it to stay connected with their neighbors and stay informed about what's going on in their community. So, as for perspectives on local eating, moral norms are very influential on customer intentions to purchase local food. People generally see it as the right thing to do, and they want to feel like they are connected to the producer as well as benefiting their community. More good news is that people do care about local eating. However, they don't totally agree on what that means. In my survey, people's definitions of local eating ranged from anything produced in Washington state to strictly food grown within their neighborhood. So, because of that broad range, it is hard to market anything as particularly local because that means something different to everyone. Luckily, WIGC is specifically focused on products from Whidbey, so they can champion that instead, but more on that later. Supporting the local economy was the most noted benefit of local eating, and cost was the primary barrier. And I have a little bit more information on that stat here. Figure two shows the answers to the survey question, what is the biggest barrier for Whidbey Island residents to buying local foods? And as you can see, cost is the biggest by a lot. But inconvenience, inability to access, and not having enough information are also important. And figure three shows some short answer responses to another question about what additional information people wanted. They noted practical information, more about WIGC's structure, and more about the many health benefits of eating local. So I wrote up some recommendations for social media strategies that WIGC could implement based off those results we just saw. So obviously cost was a huge issue for people, but because they're motivated by doing good for their community, highlighting that fact might make them more willing to pay a higher price because they would know that their money is going towards a small farmer in their community. And generally, it feels good to help others. Next, keeping a loose definition of local is also going to be important because WIGC will want to include everyone in their marketing, regardless of how they define the phrase. Most people understand it to mean food that comes from somewhere nearby, so there's no need to specify a maximum distance or anything, in my opinion, just focus on Whidbey products as being local. Also, like we saw in the results, people want practical information, so it is important to keep putting out constant updates about how they can get involved. And in observing their social media accounts, I noticed that when WIGC posted about events that other organizations were putting on, they consistently got lots of engagement. So to me, this further showed that people want to get involved with their community, so that will be important to continue. Also, finally, I advocated for them to increase their Nextdoor use as it is popular for sharing information on the island and pretty easy to use. And then, just for fun, I included some more pictures from my trips. The left two are from Skyroot Farm, and the right two are from the Organic Farm School, which are both producers for WIGC. You can order their products on the website. They're both very pretty, and I had a great time staying on both of these farms. So, for implications, when you have such a specifically defined target audience like WIGC does, it is important to tailor your social media messaging specifically to their preferences so it fills information gaps and corrects misconceptions to educate the public and increase awareness of the brand. Because they are targeting their audience's needs specifically, WIGC will be able to reach more potential customers and advance their mission of connecting all levels of the food chain and encouraging people to eat local. Their model could also be used to inform other rural food hubs or cooperatives, as a lot of my work was based on more general market studies. But marketing isn't one size fits all, and the survey portion of this work was tailored very specifically to the Whidbey community. So, further community research should be conducted to inform similar marketing plans for food hubs that serve other areas. And in this way, social media can be used to promote the local food economy and reduce the environmental impact of agriculture one community at a time. Thank you.